Less than 24 hours ago, Alex Eala and Venus Williams looked ready to become one of the biggest stories in Washington. The reunion had been announced. They had practiced together. The tournament had promoted them as a partnership connecting two generations of tennis. Then the doubles draw appeared. Alex Eala was gone. Venus Williams was still there, but her name was now beside Diana Shnaider. No Alex, no reunion, no clear explanation. A partnership that had already been presented to the public disappeared before the first ball was struck. So what happened between that practice session and the release of the draw? Did Alex decide to leave the doubles event? Did a physical concern change the plan? Did the singles draw suddenly become the priority? Or was this simply a late tournament change that never received a full public explanation? Those questions matter because this was not a partnership invented by excited fans. Washington had announced it. Alex and Venus had already played together in Bad Homburg. They had won their opening match. They had reached the quarterfinals. They had shown enough chemistry to make a second tournament feel natural. That is why the change created immediate concern. Some fans feared an injury. Others imagined a disagreement. Some believed Alex wanted to protect her body before facing Olympic champion Qinwen Zheng in singles. Every theory sounded possible. None was officially confirmed. That is the mystery. The draw tells us that the reunion is off. It does not tell us why. Alex remains in the singles field. Venus remains in the doubles field. The only thing missing is the partnership Washington had spent days promoting. And the timing makes everything stranger. This did not happen before the announcement. It did not happen before the excitement began. It came after the reunion had been promoted. And after Alex and Venus had been seen preparing together. One image showed the second chapter about to begin. The next official document showed that it was already over. So let us separate the facts from the rumors. Let us rebuild the final 24 hours. Let us examine what the change actually proves. Because by the end, the most important question may not be why Alex lost the chance to play beside Venus. It may be what Alex is now preparing to face alone. To understand why this change disappointed so many people, you have to understand what Alex Eala and Venus Williams represented together. This was never just another doubles team. Venus is one of the most recognizable players in American tennis history. She has competed across different eras, against different generations, on the largest courts in the sport. She understands pressure that most athletes never experience. Alex stands at the beginning of that journey. She is still building her career. She is still entering tournaments where casual fans may be seeing her for the first time. But her rise has moved so quickly that she no longer arrives as a player asking for permission to belong. Her ranking opens the door now. Her results create expectations. Her presence brings attention from the Philippines, the United States, and every part of the tennis world that has started following her rise. Put Venus and Alex on the same side of the net, and the image becomes larger than doubles. It becomes history standing beside possibility. It becomes an American legend, sharing the court with the most successful Filipino tennis player of her generation. It becomes the past and the future trying to win the same point. That was the appeal in Bad Homburg. Alex and Venus won their first match together and reached the quarterfinals. The partnership was not perfect. It did not need to be. Venus brought experience, instincts at the net, and decades of understanding about pressure. Alex brought speed, energy, and the hunger of a player who still treats every opportunity as something precious. Their styles were different. That made the partnership interesting. They looked like two players from different tennis worlds learning how to build one rhythm. For Alex, the emotional value was obvious. She was competing beside someone whose career helped define greatness long before Alex reached the WTA Tour. For Venus, the partnership carried a different meaning. She was sharing the court and the spotlight with a young player whose story was only beginning. She was not protecting her legacy from the next generation. She was playing beside it. Washington looked like the perfect second chapter. The surface had changed from grass to hard court. The setting had changed from Germany to the capital of the United States. But the story still worked. Alex could learn beside a champion. Venus could continue with one of the fastest rising players in the sport. Fans could see whether the chemistry from Bad Homburg was strong enough to grow. Doubles also offered practical value for Alex. It could give her more time on the Washington courts. It could help her read the bounce and adjust her movement. It could give her competition without placing the entire emotional weight on one singles result. Then the singles draw changed the calculation. Alex was placed against Qinwen Zheng. Not in the quarterfinals. Not after several matches of preparation. In the first round, Zheng is an Olympic champion. She is one of the most explosive ball strikers on the tour. Her serve can create pressure immediately. Her forehand can turn a neutral rally into a defensive emergency. When her timing is right, she can take control before the opponent has found balance. That is the player waiting for Alex at the start of her Washington debut. Suddenly, doubles was not only an exciting opportunity, it was another match. Another demand on the body. Another recovery period during a week that already contained one of the most dangerous opening opponents in the draw. That does not prove Alex left doubles because of Zheng. It explains why the change matters. For Filipino fans, the disappointment was especially personal. Watching Alex beside Venus was not only entertaining, it was symbolic. A young Filipino player was no longer looking at tennis history from a distance. She was standing inside it. Washington promised another chance to see that image. Now that chance is gone. If this reunion mattered to you, stay with me. Because the final 24 hours turned a beautiful story into a real mystery. Start with July 18. That was when Washington officially announced that Alex Eala and Venus Williams would play doubles together again. The news was presented as a continuation of their Bad Homburg run. The message was clear. The first tournament had created enough interest to justify another opportunity. This was not a rumor from a fan account. It was official tournament promotion. That distinction matters. Official announcements create expectations. They influence media coverage. They tell fans which stories the tournament believes will matter. Washington believed Alex and Venus mattered. So here is the first question. If the partnership was uncertain, why announce it so confidently? Tournament entries change all the time. Players withdraw. Schedules move. Physical problems appear. But the strength of the announcement suggested that the important pieces were already in place. Alex was expected to play. Venus was expected to play. They were expected to play together. The reunion quickly became one of the emotional attractions of the week. Venus brought enormous recognition in the United States. Alex brought a fast-growing international audience and intense support from Filipino fans. Together, they created something tournaments rarely find in doubles. A match people wanted to see before the opponents were even known. Then came July 24. Alex and Venus were seen practicing together in Washington. That changed the story from an announcement into something visible. They were in the same city. They were on the same court. They were preparing. For fans who had any doubts, the practice session looked like reassurance. The reunion was alive. The second chapter was about to begin. But that image creates the most uncomfortable question in the timeline. If the plan was about to change, why were they still practicing together so close to the draw? There are harmless explanations. Players practice with different partners. A shared session does not always confirm a competitive team. Alex and Venus already knew each other and may simply have wanted quality preparation. But after the official announcement, the practice looked like confirmation. That is why the next development felt so sudden. July 25. The doubles draw appeared. Alex Eala was not listed beside Venus Williams. The draw placed Venus with Diana Shnaider. The new team was scheduled to face Quinn Gleason and Ulrike Ikari. One day earlier, fans were watching Alex and Venus prepare together. Now Venus had a different partner, and Alex was no longer part of the team. There was no detailed medical update. There was no complete tournament explanation. There was only the draw. That created the central question. Who made the decision? And why? Some reports described Alex as withdrawing from doubles. Other reports used more careful language and only confirmed the final draw. Those descriptions are not identical. Saying Alex withdrew suggests the decision came from her side. Saying the partnership changed only describes the result. Without a clear statement from Alex, her team, Venus, or the tournament, the private process remains unknown. Reports later quoted Venus speaking warmly about their time in Bad Homburg. She reportedly said the Washington plan did not work out and left open the possibility of another reunion. That did not sound like anger. It did not sound like a partnership ending badly. It sounded like a plan that failed to reach the court. That weakens the theory of a personal conflict. It does not explain the change. Then came the injury theory. Alex had moved through a demanding schedule. She had played major matches, traveled, changed surfaces, and entered Washington with a dangerous singles opponent. Could she have been managing a physical concern? Possibly. Has a serious injury been confirmed? No. That does not eliminate the possibility of minor discomfort. Players often remove doubles to reduce risk while continuing in singles, but possibility is not proof. The scheduling theory is also logical. Maybe Alex and her team studied the singles draw and decided that one competition required full attention. Zheng can punish short balls. She can attack second serves. She can force an opponent into defense within the first few shots. Preparing for that challenge could justify a simpler schedule. But again, that is only a possible explanation. The timeline gives us a clear result and no confirmed reason. The reunion was announced. Alex and Venus practiced together. The final draw placed Venus with Shnaider. Alex remained in singles. Every detail confirms that the change was real. Not one detail explains exactly why it happened. And perhaps that is the first clue that we have been asking the wrong question. Here is the part that changes the entire story. Nothing in the available public response suggests that Alex and Venus had a personal breakdown. There is no confirmed feud. There is no public criticism. There is no evidence that Venus decided Alex was not good enough. There is only evidence that they will not play together in Washington. That is a major difference. One version of the story is emotional. Two players disagree. One replaces the other. Fans choose sides. Every photograph becomes suspicious. The other version is practical. A plan changes. A player adjusts the schedule. A physical concern, a strategic decision, or a tournament issue prevents the original team from entering the final draw. The disappointment is real. The drama may not be. The missing explanation created an empty space. Social media filled that space with the loudest possibilities. But the confirmed facts do not support the strongest rumors. That forces us to reframe the central question. Instead of asking who abandoned whom, ask what Alex Eala is preparing for now. The answer is Qinwen Zheng. That changes the emotional center of the week. Before the doubles draw, Washington looked like a reunion story. Alex and Venus would share the court again. A legend would stand beside a rising star. After the change, Washington becomes a single survival story. Alex no longer has the doubles match that could have given her extra court time. Her entire tournament now points toward one contest. Alex Eala against an Olympic champion. First meeting on the WTA Tour. First round. Immediate danger. The transition from grass to hard court adds another challenge. Grass rewards fast reactions and shorter points. Hard courts create a more predictable bounce. But rallies can become more physical. Movement changes. Timing changes. Recovery changes. Zheng wants time to set her feet and drive through the ball. If Alex allows her to control the center of the court, the match can move quickly. If Alex changes direction early and attacks the second serve, the pressure can shift. That preparation requires physical freshness and mental clarity. Removing doubles could help. It could give Alex more recovery time. It could simplify the week. It could allow every practice session to focus on Zheng. That does not prove this was the reason. It shows what Alex may gain from the result. Whatever caused the change, she now has more time to prepare for singles. Was that trade worth losing the reunion? Tell me in the comments. Would you rather see Alex play beside Venus again? Or protect every ounce of energy for Zheng? There is no easy answer. Doubles could have helped Alex adapt to the court and find rhythm. It also could have added fatigue and reduced recovery time. That is the real tension. The reunion disappearing feels like a loss because it was emotionally special, but it also reveals how far Alex has moved. A year ago, playing doubles beside Venus might have been the biggest story of her tournament. Now the biggest story is what Alex can do alone against an Olympic champion. She no longer needs Venus beside her to make people watch. And the evidence behind that change is stronger than it first appears. So, what can we actually prove? First, Washington announced Alex Eala and Venus Williams as a doubles team. Second, the final draw placed Venus beside Diana Shnaider. Third, Alex remained in the singles competition. Those are the facts. The announcement showed one team. The final draw showed another. Everything between those two documents remains unexplained. There has been no confirmed public announcement of a serious injury. There has been no proof of a personal disagreement. There has been no evidence that Venus rejected Alex because of performance. The Bad Homburg results make that final theory especially weak. Alex and Venus won their first match together. They reached the quarterfinals. The partnership had enough competitive value to justify another tournament. Diana Shnaider is a dangerous player. She brings power, movement, and her own value in doubles. But her presence does not prove that Venus chose her over Alex. It proves only that the final draw listed a different team. The most revealing detail is how quickly the official information appeared to change. Promotional material celebrated the reunion. The player list showed Venus and Shnaider. One official story told fans that Alex and Venus were coming back. Another official document showed that they were not. That is why the phrase overnight change feels accurate. Fans were not reacting to an old rumor. They were reacting to two different versions of the tournament plan. The original partnership existed in the promotion. The replacement partnership existed in the draw. The explanation existed nowhere. That changes the Washington narrative for Alex. Before the draw, she carried two stories. One was emotional, the reunion with Venus. The other was competitive, the first round match against Zheng. The doubles change removes the emotional story from the schedule. The competitive story becomes everything. That creates pressure. If Alex had played doubles, she might have gained more live court time before or during the singles event. She might have learned how the surface was behaving under match conditions. Now every adjustment must happen through practice and the singles match itself. There may be less room to settle, less room to experiment, less room to discover that the timing is slightly wrong. Zheng can punish hesitation immediately. Her serve can force defensive returns. Her forehand can push Alex behind the baseline. Alex will need to protect her second serve. She will need to change direction without losing position. She will need to make Zheng move before Zheng can create full power. Those details matter more than every rumor surrounding doubles. That is the real sporting consequence. Alex may be fresher. She may also be less tested on the Washington court. She may benefit from a simpler schedule. She may miss the rhythm that doubles could have provided. We will not know which effect matters until she plays. And that finally brings us back to the opening question. What happened overnight? The honest answer is that we know the outcome, but not the private reason. The reunion is off. The relationship is not confirmed to be broken. The doubles plan disappeared. The possibility of another partnership remains. The mystery did not produce evidence of a scandal. It produced a new test for Alex. Washington was supposed to show Alex Eala and Venus Williams standing together again. Instead, it may show us how Alex handles a week when one of the most exciting parts of her schedule disappears before competition begins. So what really changed? The final doubles draw no longer included Alex beside Venus. Venus entered with Diana Shnaider. Alex moved forward in singles. That is confirmed. The exact reason is not. Until someone involved provides a full explanation, every detailed theory remains speculation. That silence should not be filled carelessly. The fairest conclusion is simple. A partnership that looked ready did not reach the final draw. Venus found another path into doubles. Alex now prepares for singles without the expected reunion beside her. That could help. It could hurt. The answer will come against Zheng. But this story also reveals something larger about Alex Eala. Her name has reached the point where one doubles change can create international attention. Fans notice when she appears. They notice when she disappears. They ask questions because her schedule now feels important. That was not always true. A young player can spend years moving through draws without the wider tennis world reacting. Alex has crossed that line. Her decisions matter now. Her partnerships matter. Her preparation creates conversation before she walks onto the court. That is pressure. It is also progress. The Washington reunion may be delayed rather than destroyed. Bad Homburg proved that the partnership can work. Another tournament could still create the second chapter Washington promised. But this week, Alex will not have Venus beside her. She will step into her Washington debut facing an Olympic champion. She will carry the expectations alone. Maybe that is the real story. Not that Alex lost a famous partner. That she has become important enough to stand without one. Do you believe the change will help Alex against Zheng, Or did she lose valuable preparation at the worst possible moment? Subscribe and stay close to this Washington story, because the answer will not come from another rumor. It will come when Alex Eala steps onto the court alone.